Summer is the slowest time of the year for most schools, but there's always families that are seeking a safe, entertaining place for their kids over the summer. These are parents that are going back to work and somebody's got to watch their kids during the day. Summer camp students pay 3 to 5 times the tuition of a regular monthly martial arts students. Many schools charge $200 to $250 a week. That's $800 to $1,000 per month per student for about 10 weeks over the summer. Mata's created a growing library of summer camp courses and information to help you plan, market, launch, manage, and profit from a summer camp. To get you started, here is an interview with Jim King. Jim has been doing highly successful summer camps and after-school programs since 1996. He is truly the pioneer for both of these. Observing what he does, and the first thing you notice is that his summer camp and after-school program is a hardcore traditional white gi with kata karate program. Did I say hardcore? Kids are not allowed to speak louder than a whisper on the bus or in the school. It is strict, traditional Japanese karate. The Mata summer school and after school courses have plenty of video of his school and Tim McCann's school, so you can get an idea of this is really about as far from babysitting as you can get. It is truly, I'd say it again, hardcore. Does hardcore work? Jim had 156 students in his after school program at $79 a week. That's over $12,000 per week and just about $50,000 per month. That's just tuition. His after-school kids pay for sparring gear, snacks, and testing fees. Mata members have access to online training and courses to get their programs up and running fast. Jim, why should someone have a summer camp at their martial arts school?
John, it's good to be here with you again and everyone else. The reason we do a summer camp is because of the necessity. Kids have to be out of school for summer camp. That's a fact of life. Why not be with us learning a talent and skill for daycare prices? Here in Central Florida at my school, I'm $145 a week. I have schools in California, for instance, that are doing $299, $325 per week. I just did a little bit of quick math here.
I want to emphasize to our listeners, that's per week. Right. Every 7 days, gang, not every 30 days. Go ahead. Sorry.
So if you got just 50 students in your summer camp at $325 a week, that's $16,250 a week. That's $65,000 a month. If you had 100 students, which I have over 100 students in my school, that's big money. That's all I can say. That's big money. You can do the math.
It really is.
You know what? 32,500. I can do that in my head with 100 kids, and that's a week. Okay, so that's like $130,000 a month for summer camp. Even if the rent is more out there in the Bay Area, it isn't that kind of rent. Even if it was $10,000 a month, they're making big money out there in California with this program.
So what you're saying really is that summer camp can turn the dog days of summer really into your most lucrative months of the year.
It's funny you should say that because I was in the health club industry for 11 years as well. And it's the dog days of summer. It just is. You die in the summer in health clubs. January, February, March, New Year's resolution is the biggest months of the year when I used to run the Valley Health and Racket Clubs. I was doing martial arts 4 days a week even then. But here in Central Florida, my best months, now I'm not in California, I did $75,000 in June, and I did $76,000 in July for summer camp. So there's just a lot of money to be made during summer camp. That's our biggest months of the year because of the necessity of kids have to be somewhere. Why not be with you? And they naturally going to feed into my after school program in the fall. And those that don't need after school with pickup in the fall are going to be my evening student.
To be clear, let's define exactly what is a summer camp.
Summer camp. Some people say they have a summer camp. They're doing like 10 to 3 or 9 to 4, and they call it a summer camp. That's for stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads that are doing this for a lark, and they make money at it, and it works. What I'm talking about is the necessity of a summer camp. I'm looking for the kids that need to be with me. That's the backbone of my program, especially for summer camp. They're out of school for the summer, and parents are working. That's the group I'm after. It's 7:30 to 6. You can even give a grace period of 6:15. And the focus of our summer camp is on martial arts. So we have 2 classes per day, one at 10, one at 4. I'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we do for our summer camp. It's a necessity. For my summer camp, I did like I told you, the 75,000 in June and 76 grand in July. I mean, that would be small numbers to California, but I'm real happy with it. I had a $40,000 a month net for me personally. That's $10,000 a week in my pocket weekly. So, that's good monies for me.
It's the middle of April. What should school owners be doing right now to plan for their summer camp?
There's time to do it. I've started people even closer to summer camp, and I started doing my preparations in February. Okay, but there's time to do it right now. You're 8 weeks out for most people. All right, even more up north. Set a starting date, especially if you already have a school. And I know of some people, you and I both know, are getting ready to start to open a school. Okay, but set a starting date. And put it on all your windows in the school and a door on the way out. You can put it on an easel, let everybody know when it's going to start. Try to get if it's a current student, you won't need a registration fee, but get their first week to hold their spot so you know what's coming, okay? And
is that refundable by chance?
If you're a current student, sure. Mm-hmm. Sure, I'm not going to burn any bridges. Sure, we're not tough on our gotcha. People. The next thing I would do would be establish a rate. You need to know what you're going to charge. Then I'm going to get into conversions because that makes sense. If you have set a rate, the first thing to do is call like 3 daycares in your area, like KinderCare, La Petite. They're chains and gold standards. There's also Happy Faces, Kids Are Kids, and then Star Child and what have you. But you want to be near the highest, but not over it, in my opinion. If they're a 10, you want to be a 9 because, as we previously discussed, with your test fees and your extra uniforms and your snacks, because they give them in daycare, all that adds up. By the end of the year and buying your pads, you're going to be an 11 by the end of the year.
Understood.
Per week. Okay. So establish a rate by calling the daycares, and like I'm $145 a week. Most people in this area are $150 a week. Plus they charge for field trips. I offer more, and I give that in my phone conversation. I'm week to week, ma'am, no contract. If you're not here a week, you don't pay like KinderCare, what you're comparing me to. Plus, mine includes the field trips, and theirs doesn't. They're charging $150 a week or $160 a week plus field trips. It turns out to $185 to $215 a week. I'm $145 a week, and it includes 2 field trips. Plus, I teach 2 classes per day. That's where we take over. And obviously, you know how to sell that. Exercise, discipline, respect, manners, self-defense. Our product is really self-esteem, like Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. That's what we sell. The next thing to do is to have a conversion rate. You have evening students who may not need after school. Okay, because parents get home 3:30, 4 o'clock, so they don't necessarily need after school. So they come here at night for my evening class at 6, but they need summer camp all summer. Okay, so let's say I'll do this in my head. I charge more than this per month, but let's say it's $100 a month. They're paying on a contract. Let's say it's a 1-year contract
for your regular standard martial arts evening class.
Regular 6-month or 1-year membership, which here is like $139. Okay, but let's say it's 100. Okay, because you can divide by 4, that's 25 a week is what they're really paying you. You're going to leave that contract alone if it's with a billing company or whatever, if you're doing that, and let it keep going and stay in effect. Now they're going to pay you the difference of your summer camp. If I'm $145 a week and they're paying $100 a month, they're paying me $25 a week. Take 25 from that 45, what's that, $120 a week they're going to be paying me? Sure. So they're going to pay me $120 a week for every week they're here. Some people might just want their kid during the evening program to come here 1 or 2 weeks here just for giggles, okay, and doing other things, but they're still in my nighttime program. But if they're here all summer in my summer camp program, they don't come back at night. It's one or the other, okay, not both. You still keep that contract in effect all the way till it runs out. Now, if at the end of the summer the contract's still in effect, but they want to do after-school program, you would do the same thing. You subsidize your after-school program by taking that monthly program, whatever the rate is, divide by 4, subtract that from your weekly fee, whatever that's going to be after you establish a rate by shopping your market. If it expires and they want to go into your after-school program now because they changed their work hours or changed their job and they need it, now you don't re-sign them on the contract. You just put them on new paperwork on the after-school program, which is week to week, like my summer camp is week to week, and you charge them full price, no more subsidy.
So in terms of what should schools be doing right now, we want to set a date. We want to call around and get an idea of what the established after school or summer camps locally are charging and just undercut them a little bit. Develop a conversion rate for your current students that want to participate in summer camp. You essentially deduct the regular tuition from your summer camp fee. How do you structure a typical summer camp day?
The structure of class, the way I do it, I have a class every morning. John, you've taught for many years. The worst thing you can do with kids is have downtime, sitting on the ground doing nothing. You're hitting the kid next to them or what have you, or disrupting the class.
How could
or whatever. Entertaining children. And I have large groups, 130, 40, 50, 60, 70 kids here at one time. You've seen my school. So, and you've seen how well structured it is, too. They're not out of control. You can hear yourself talk in my office, even with that many kids out on the floor. And I'm saying that because I call some schools, it sounds like I'm calling kindergarten.
Yep.
It's just a din.
It is remarkable.
I wouldn't still be in the martial arts doing this for 27 years, and I'm still standing, okay, because we train our children, okay? If I can train my little doggies to do things, to sit and lie down and be quiet, I can certainly train a 5-year-old to do it. You just explain to them what the expectations are and follow through. It's not hard. So I have a class every morning, 10 to 11. We have a curriculum. Then I have another class in the afternoon, normally 4 to 5, like after school, but during the summer I do it 3:30 to 4:30. Now, a little caveat to that. We do field trips during the summer. I used to do 10 classes a week and then still get them ready to go on a field trip and get them all ready to get them out. So the days they're going on field trips, I only have one class. So we do our field trip on Tuesday and Friday. On Tuesday we go swimming. We take them all swimming at one time. So we have the whole park to ourselves, the whole pool to ourselves with lifeguards and my staff. There's a kiddie pool for non-swimmers and a big pool for swimmers. So we'll have one class in the morning and go on a field trip, or probably we'll have the class in the afternoon on the swimming day. The opposite of that is true on Friday. We do our other big field trip at the end of the week. They all look forward to that. We're going bowling, we're going roller skating, we're going to Monkey Joe's bounce house room where they have jump houses. We go to the movies at our big Cineplex here. They have 12 theaters. It's big first-run movies, not dollar movies that people have seen over in the bad area of town. We're getting first-run movies, and I get a rate on that because I call the corporation, and we get a rate. We rent the whole theater. So nobody's in that theater but us. If they go to a restroom, they raise their hand, they leave with an instructor and come back. Good. And I stress this on the phone call, too. We go only on local, safe, fun field trips. We're not going to Wet and Wild. Nothing wrong with that. We're not going to SeaWorld or Disney World or the Kennedy Space Center. It's too far from home. Too many other people are there. I can't control it. Yes. I want control at all times. Okay, good. We have more than enough staff. And I'll tell you what, at the bowling alley, for instance, we're the only outside entity that has a brochure rack in that bowling alley because, number one, we bring them money, a lot of money. Number two, we bring them a lot of money. Maybe do it 2 or 3 times over the summer because kids love bowling. They're active. They get up to do something. But I'll bring in 100-plus kids there. You can hear ourselves speak, like right now. They're all lined up in their camp T-shirts along the back wall. Not one word. When they go up to get their shoes, 5 kids go up there. It's please and thank you. Okay, now while they're bowling, they can be little kids.
Sure.
But entering the bowling alley or leaving the bowling alley, it's quiet. I've seen as many as 17 kids there with a child care with 2 women just yelling, and it's just out of control. They don't have a brochure rack in there. Let me tell you this. We train our kids.
That's an extension of the martial arts. That really does show you that these kids are walking the talk.
Those aren't words. Those aren't words. The rules to live by and how to save your hair so you didn't do this back in the day, John. We tell them the expectations along the whole back. We give them orientation. We go all the way down. We talk right to them, get in their faces, just like Super Nanny. We give them the expectations, and this is how we're going to act, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it on the way there. This is how we're going to do it on the way back. This is how we're going to act while we're there. I've seen other martial arts schools at the bounce house places out of control, and their teachers are on their phones texting and chewing gum, which is a no-no in a bowling alley and the bounce house. And it's just out of control. I don't know what they're doing. They're not one of my licensees.
Definitely.
But we tell them they're not even going to talk on the vans or buses. They can whisper. Okay? They don't do that. If the bus driver has to turn around and say, be quiet, please, he's already distracted. He's got to look around. He might have 30, 40, 50, 60 kids on a bus. I've driven behind a county school bus. I can watch the kids jumping in their seats, which is intolerated. I see them go across the aisle to another seat, what have you. I've had kids wave at me out the back of the bus, and they think that's really cute. Okay, the bus driver's in La La Land driving along. Same with child care centers with seatbelts. Their kids are out of control. You won't last in this business if you have large number of kids like I do, and you're going to do it for a quarter of a century like I have. Mm-hmm. I'm moving into the next quarter century, unless you have disciplined, trained children. People are going to want to quit. Your teachers, your bus drivers aren't going to want to deal with screaming and yelling at kids on the bus. So we don't have that, John. So if you nip it in the bud with your after-school orientation or your summer camp orientation, how you're going to be on the bus. And I have monitors like we did in school on my buses, also known as snitches. And they let me know who's doing what. They take names when they come in. There's consequences. You'll lose playtime. You'll have writing to do. I will not talk or play on the bus. We do that, and all the kids know it. We follow through. So they know what the expectations are. And my kids are extremely well disciplined. As you know, Tim came over to my school and saw my school. He just couldn't believe it. I said, no, I can't believe that you have to come over here to see how it's done. So he learned, and he moved on. I learn all the time, too.
My brother Jim's comment when he saw all the kids in class, but you couldn't hear all the kids in class because it was so quiet. He turned to me and said, "This will not drive you nuts." I thought it was such an interesting statement. This will not drive you nuts.
In 2000, when I had 177 kids here with 8 teachers on the floor, that's back when I used to teach on the floor with my wife. She's still out there. Doesn't have to be, but she likes doing it.
Yeah,
I'm running the business and other businesses and what have you.
What about transportation?
Consider as soon as you can not using your own personal vehicles and using a van or multiple vans or a bus and get commercial insurance, whether it's Geico or Progressive like I use. I have 7 vehicles. I keep one in the rear, so I use 6 vehicles. Consider separating church from state completely by doing that. With your transportation company, set it up as a separate LLC. That's not hard to do. You can even do it online. I went to the bank, got a separate checking account for TASMA LLC Transportation. And my parents, I have paperwork. They contract separately with this transportation company. I don't commingle the corporate funds for various reasons. This isn't for any other reason for me than for liability and for write-offs, okay? I have a separate gas card for my buses, a fuel card. I have a separate checking account. I pay the drivers that work for me. I told you it started at $150 a week. Now they're $175 a week for a couple hours in the afternoon. Perfect part-time job for somebody. Ex-county bus driver or a mom that has a CDL or what have you. You don't need a CDL for vans, but you do for the buses, okay? And DOT certification for your buses, Department of Transportation. And background checks, level 2, on everybody that comes in contact with a kid, the children. But I separate the two for liability and for write-offs at the end of the year. Now, in some areas, even here in Florida, and I think your county over there, Pinellas County, it's one of the few places in the whole United States. They have their own separate government. There's 67 counties in the state of Florida, 61 are run from Tallahassee. 6 have to beat those codes under 65C 22.008, and they have to meet that or surpass that, and that's what they do at Pinellas County, where the code says for the rest of us, there'll be no transportation, for the purposes of field trips, by first party or second party or third party during the calendar school year for after school. You can't provide transportation, period. They took all that out, put a period there. So there you have to outsource. And you can own that transportation company, so you can just incorporate or make a separate LLC for your van or vans or your buses like I have people do over there. Have your parents contract with it separately. That's how I do it. A lot of people use their instructors to drive. You can do that too, okay? And they're on your payroll. You can either not pay them for that time they're on there to keep it completely separate, or pay them out a separate account, okay? You've worked 2 jobs before, so have I. I've worked 3. So you can do that. But I personally have professional drivers doing it. That's the way I want to do it because I have so many kids here. I want my instructors in here because as one bus drops off, Bear Lake alone, we have 35 kids for one school. They drop off. Who's on the floor? I have a couple of instructors out there, okay? As more kids get here, my instructors come on, overlapping staff for hours work, just like I do during summer camp. If you're there 7:30 to 6 o'clock during summer camp, you don't need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instructors on at 7:30 in the morning. I have two. One to greet people, one on the floor. As more kids get in by 9:30, I have 3 or 4. By 10 o'clock when first class starts, I'll have 6, 7 instructors on the floor. Okay? And then when it comes time to lunch, who came in first leaves first, etc. Same with after the afternoon class, 4 to 5. After 5, whoever came in first goes home first. Some people do that and come back, or they're salaried, so they work full time. So you have to overlap your staff so you don't burn them out. Plus, you are going to pay in overtime, and you want to operate legally at all times. I even have a couple of 17-year-olds that are black belts now that are assistant instructors. They're in the payroll. I pay everybody. I don't do any trade out at all with instructors. Everybody's on payroll, and 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds are allowed to work so many hours per week. Okay, so they have to be part-time. So I 1099 them at the end of the year. But I just like my bus drivers. They're not employees of American Fight Academy. They're 1099 on my TASMA LLC transportation company, and I pay them. It's up for them to do their taxes. I give them their 1099 at the end of the year. Shows them what they earned and what have you.
They can be complex. How do you manage field trips?
You don't have to do a field trip every day to think you're better than another school. I only do 2 field trips a week and have been for 27 years. And I still have one of the largest after-school programs in America. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even on Facebook. I'm not on social media. Okay, and I'm going to get there soon. So I'm operating on 7 turbocharged cylinders, twin turbo, just so you know. But like the bowling alley, if you want to go to the bowling alley, call them now. Make sure that you're going to get in there. Tell them what dates you want to go. Okay, and if you can guesstimate how many kids you're going to bring. They'll reserve 2 lanes, 4 lanes, 6 lanes, 8 lanes, whatever you need. And how old your kids are, 5 to 12, they'll have an idea how many shoes they're going to need, okay? All right? And if you have a really big group and they're really well-trained and quiet, you can also try and get your brochure back in there like I have and get more students from the bowling alley. Same thing goes with Monkey Joe's Jump House or wherever you're at. If you go to a bounce house or roller skating or ice skating or to the pool, you need to start booking those things ahead of time. We go to the city park and for our pool, and it's $1 a kid, okay? But this year they're revamping that pool. I had to go one city over to Castleberry, and it's $2 a kid. I'll pay it all day long, but we get the whole pool to ourselves, both the big pool and the wave pool, and they have a park right there in the shade right next to it with swings and slides, and it's all like mulched. It's really nice, and there's shade trees there. We also bought soccer balls for the kids to kick around out there if they're not swimming. And we bought plastic jump ropes and stuff to do. We bring that with us. We bring basketballs with us. They can play basketball. Not everybody's going to swim or want to swim. So we have that set up for $2 a kid. My other field trips, like I already mentioned to you, between the bowling alley and roller skating and Monkey Joe's and the movie theater, average about $7. Some are 5, some are 8, but average about $7. That comes out of our pocket for my overhead. So when you're away from your school, you take on the liability of being away from your school in traffic, okay? And then if you're going to a big theme park like here in Central Florida, you have the liability of possible predators there at a particular big venue, and so we don't want to do that. And plus it costs more as well. So every time you're out, you're paying for the fuel, you're paying the drivers. As you know, I'll get into transportation in a minute. I use outside professional drivers. I don't have my staff schlepping kids. They're with the kids. I have teachers, I have managers, I have bus drivers. I don't mix those up. So you need to know where you're going to go, have an idea of it right now. And I would at least see if you can get an idea of when you're going to come on your calendar so you can maybe book it ahead of time. How many lanes, how many kids at bowling, or how many shoes you're going to need, that kind of thing.
You say that you hire these bus drivers. So somebody's hired to take the kids to the bowling alley and bring them back. Over what period of time would that field trip or a typical field trip happen, and what would that bus driver cost, and how do you find them?
Good question, John. That's a really good question. But my bus drivers here in Central Florida, this will vary. I start them off at $150 a week. They work about 2 hours after school each day for the after school program, really about 1 hour worth of work, but you got to get here early, start up the bus, get the bus list. Each bus driver does 2 or 3 schools, and then time to get back here, then park the bus, maybe 2 hours transpired. They started at $150 a week. you're with me a year or more, it's $175 a week, and that's what I do for that amount of work. During the summer camp, we do it a little differently. We pay them maybe $50 to just do the trip like that. If you hire an outside person, you're going to pay $200 for the flat rate. But these are my bus drivers; they work for me. If they're doing 2 field trips a week, they get $100 for those field trips. They're only doing like 2 days a week, okay, as opposed to 5 days a week where they were getting $150 or $175. They'll get like $100 for those 2 field trips, okay? Mm-hmm. I've done it before, back when I used to outsource for 16 years to a professional transportation company from Orlando International Airport. And when I hired them, I originally talked to them, I want to hire you for my summer camp. Well, what do you charge? And it was $200 flat rate. It's about 2 hours, John. A field trip's about 2 hours, mm-hmm. Okay? They park the bus either there at the site or go to maybe a shopping mall right there outside of it and park it in the outside parking lot, maybe read a book or something, mm-hmm. Okay? And then they come back and pick us up.
If you could imagine an iceberg and summer camps, that was really the tip of the iceberg into the amount of material that we have on running a successful summer camp on the MATA site. So be sure and log in and take full advantage of that. And we have an equally large library on after-school programs, which we'll dive into next week.